Alright, so if you're like me, you spend way too much time on your smartphone despite thinking that most modern smartphones are pretty damn boring, but you're too afraid to live without one because, wait, why are we scared? See, this is what led me to spend $600 on a Light Phone 3. I'm Becca, I take tech outside, and for 2 weeks this was my daily driver. It's a cool looking minimal device that lets you do all the phone stuff, calling and texting for the most part, but doesn't allow you to access social media or even email. But all of you had this to say about that device. And you're not wrong, that's a lot of money for this little guy. So last week I set out to find some cheaper minimal options, and it all started at Best Buy with the Nokia 2780. I got it open boxed for
$71.99.
It's one of the cheaper minimal phones that you can put any carrier SIM into. It runs what's called KaiOS with Google Maps and YouTube pre-installed, plus there's a web browser for running the absolute worst experience of the web. Hardware-wise, there's USB-C, a headphone jack, plus a 1,450 milliamp hour battery that gets me about a day and a half of use. Oh, and terrible build quality.
Something's not right.
I mean, my SIM card slot cover that you can only get to by removing the battery was broken upon unboxing.
Okay, we are not off to a great start here. Where is that supposed to go and why isn't it there?
This is a used open box device, and I think a normal person should bring it back to the store for repair, but I'm me and I like a challenge, so I decided I'd fix it myself. Who knows how long it'll hold up though, or how long this device will go without snapping in half at the expense of my friends having way too much fun flipping it open. As nervous as I was to switch to a flip phone, I quickly remembered that this form factor was perfected long ago, and there's only a few things that make it harder to use in 2025.
It's a little small and a little slow, but listen, I'll take it.
For starters, this phone is like every flip phone I grew up with, and using it, it's like riding a bike. A really slow, rusty bike. And nowhere is that more obvious than texting. It's T9, you only got 9 keys, and it's definitely slower than using a full keyboard. I have never wished for a device to have voice to text more than this thing. Holy cow, that would make it so much quicker and easier. I also really wish it was RCS compatible, as group messaging has been nearly impossible. Dang, I don't think I'm getting anybody's messages. Although folks have gotten my messages, I rarely receive messages back in a group message. And I can confirm that folks were trying to get in touch with me, because when I put my SIM card back into a phone that does have RCS, SIM cards are so tiny. All of those messages came down from the ether. RCS, I love you for so many reasons, but it has made texting with phones like this that use SMS pretty impossible when it comes to group chats. In individual messages though, you can open links and save media, which is helpful, but also you'll be viewing that media and opening those links on a 2.7-inch screen. All of those texting drawbacks just led me to calling people more, which I love.
Calling people on the phone. Efficient, easy, wonderful. We love hearing people's voices.
There is one crucial feature that makes this phone actually workable for me though. And I'm not talking about the Dad Jokes app that I downloaded via the ad and early 2000s mobile game-filled KaiOS App Store, or Snake, which obviously this phone came preloaded with. No. It's
Google Maps. It's amazing. It is amazing to have Google Maps.
Holy cow, do I love and rely on Google Maps, and I love having it on a minimal device. The Light Phone 3 used a different map service that was fine, but I just didn't know it as well. Other notable features of the Nokia phone are Bluetooth compatibility, FM radio abilities that I actually couldn't get to work, a 5-megapixel camera that could take both photos and videos, and of course, the small form factor. Though when it's flipped open, it is incredibly tall. I mean, look at this thing next to my face, it looks insane. So for under $100, this flip phone is a very easy way to test out the minimal lifestyle, so long as you don't really care about group messages. But if you have a little bit more money, there is another minimal device that's getting a lot of attention lately, and it's cheaper than this one, a little bit more expensive than this one, and I thought I'd give it a try. This is the $400 minimal phone. It's the second most popular minimal device next to the Light Phone 3, and it will be launching this summer. I was lucky enough to have one sent to me by Minimal free of charge, though, as with every product that gets a proper review on my channel, this company has no say in what I do with the device or say about it. What's unique about the Minimal phone is that it's an Android device running Android 14, but out of the box it has a stock Minimal launcher that limits the apps on your home screen. Not to mention, that screen is e-ink, and there's a physical keyboard too. The idea is that you can have all of the typical smartphone tools, such as RCS, Google Maps, even social media apps if you want, plus WhatsApp, but you have to look at it on an e-ink screen that doesn't encourage you to keep mindlessly using it. And I can tell you that it works, because this screen is so infuriating that I never want to look at it. Unlike LCD or OLED displays, ink has physical tiny black and white particles within each pixel that change based on what's on the screen. And to clear the screen, ink displays often flash or invert every particle's color. The problem is, in this phone's current state, it gets stuck refreshing, and it goes into what's called disco mode.
This is like seizure-inducing.
In my few days of testing, this disco mode has happened multiple times each day.
Blinking.
Many unbearable moments later.
I turned the screen on and off, and now it is not blinking anymore.
And then on my last day, a whole new bug was introduced. All right, I'm just sitting here editing, minding my business. This phone is face up next to me, like I usually have all of my phones, and it just won't stop flashing. Now, as much flashing as this device was doing, I expected ghosting or that faint visibility of a previous image to be non-existent. But this is e-ink technology as we have always known it, and there is plenty of ghosting. Luckily, there is a physical button on the side of the phone that refreshes a screen, and this does get rid of anything that's left behind. Another e-ink problem is lag, which is why Minimal included a physical keyboard, and it's very nice to have. But it is a bit funny to navigate. There have been times when I can't get the symbol or alt button to work, so I can't use parentheses or quotes. And the keys are so very tiny, with no sort of concave to them, that it makes it hard to push directly on the center of the key, and easy to hit the key next door. Every day that I've spent texting on this keyboard, I've gotten slightly faster and more accurate with it, but there has definitely been a learning curve. Continuing the hardware talk, you have USB-C, a headphone jack that you can plug headphones into to receive FM radio signal. I love this. Peak technology. Peak technology. A fingerprint reader, and a very unreliable 16 megapixel camera around back. Sometimes you get this, and sometimes you get this. What is this? And the video is not much better. On the front, there's a 5 megapixel selfie cam.
I always say that my favorite season is the next season, but spring comes along and there is something in my soul that really starts to sing. Holy cow.
That's in kind of a funny spot. It's down here under the keyboard.
I almost wish it recorded in black and white 8-bit-esqueness. It really looks cool.
And wireless charging for the 3000 milliamp hour battery. But when I had the phone on the wireless charger, my home button was working maybe 50% of the time. So I took it off the charger and it worked, and then I put it back on the charger and it didn't work, and then it did work. Either way, the battery life isn't great. I'm getting maybe a day of use out of this thing. Overall, I love the idea of this device, but in its current state, it is so damn buggy that, man, it doesn't just deter me from using it, it makes me never want to use it at all. Now, I've seen the folks from Minimal comment on other YouTube videos about this device, claiming that they're working hard on all sorts of fixes. But to Minimal, I say, if you have to make all those comments and promises, then you should have just waited to ship this to reviewers. This funny thing happened last night when I was filming B-roll of it flashing uncontrollably. My partner said this.
It's crazy. It's like they got bored of making phones better, so they decided to try making them worse.
And she's right. Minimal has reintroduced so many problems that our smartphones have already worked to solve, which is why I think if you're looking to go minimal, start here. This is the $500 Pixel 9a, but what I'm about to show you can be done on any Android or even iOS device. When I unbox this phone, instead of porting over all of my apps and preferences, I set it up bare bones. And I only installed one app, O Launcher. But there are many other Minimal launchers like this. O Launcher just happens to be my favorite. And it's almost the exact same launcher that Minimal is using. It limits the amount of apps on your home screen, and it gets rid of all icons so there are no bright colors sucking you in. If you're on iOS, I like Smile app launcher because it's free, but there's also Blank Spaces or Dumbify and so many more. You just have to do a bit more work on the widget arranging side of things to get this look. Regardless of what phone or operating system you have, though, I've only found that this is effective at keeping me off social media if there isn't any social media on my phone to begin with. You gotta delete those apps, because you and I both know if it's in the house, we'll find it and we'll use it. All right, so by now I have used a few different forms of Minimal phones, and I can safely say that they work. Like, it's not a scam. I genuinely use less social media when I'm daily driving them, and I feel more focused and just generally less distracted. But they are not all built equally. For example, I had a really good time using the Light Phone 3, and I was happy to sacrifice some nice to have, such as Google Maps or RCS, because I actually liked using the device. The Minimal phone, on the other hand, provides all of the necessities, but in a package that is incredibly frustrating to use. What's going on? Done. I'm done with this device. I'm done. And then, of course, there was the flip phone, which is a tried and true form factor. And despite it having SMS and not RCS, yeah, it worked just fine. I'm Becca. If you ever thought, hey, I'd love to buy Becca a coffee, just come and join my Patreon. It's $2.50 a month, which is less than a cup of coffee where I live. And I do a weekly newsletter, exclusive content, and all my videos are there ad-free. I appreciate you so much, bud. I hope you're getting outside and using your phone less. And I'll see you in the next one.